Hey guys, Lenny Revell here for Revell Nutrition video number 2. The last video I made was called Clean Nutrition and Water, and I really didn't know what to expect because it was my first video, but after 2 days getting over 300 hits, it was more than enough confirmation that you guys liked it. And of course the likes and the comments and the feedback were just extremely positive. I was just overwhelmed with I'm so grateful. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for watching my video and for gaining something out of it that you can use in yours and as well as your loved ones' lives to help them make better decisions on their food and their overall well-being. So anyways, I was thinking about what the next video is going to be, and I decided since cancer is such an epidemic, I was going to do one on cancer. Unfortunately, the first video draft I tried was well over half an hour long, so I came to the realization after YouTube wouldn't load it because of that I'm going to have to break things up in parts. There's just too much information for me to put in one video. So I'm going to give it to you in small segments. Cancer, first of all, is not a death sentence like people think it is. It's been highly exaggerated by the medical community to be, to be the end of you. If you get it, there's no hope unless you go through chemo, radiation, or surgery. And that really is very an irresponsible thing to say. If you understand where cancer comes from, then not only can you treat it, you can cure it. And this isn't coming from my own words. This is coming from prior natural doctors that have done this, whose advice I've taken personally and used on my friends, and it's actually happened where they've actually overcome their own problems, their own illness. Because obviously if I give them advice and it doesn't work, I wouldn't be making videos on telling other people to do the same thing. So really there's a lot more hope in the world than people think. You always got to think positive. You always got to think there's a way. That's the number one first step in curing anything, is a positive attitude and an open mind. Because with that you can conquer the world. So let me start out by giving everybody the background on what cancer is. Cancer, the cause of cancer was actually found in the 1920s by a doctor called Dr. Otto Warburg. And I think he was over in Austria. And he won the Nobel Peace Prize for discovering the cause of it, like roughly a decade later. And this is stuff that you could look up on Google if you don't believe me. So this cause was found, and the cause is basically two things. Number one, a low oxygen environment and a high acidity, which are two sides of the same coin. Anytime you're going to have low oxygen, you're going to have a high acidity, and vice versa. So knowing this, then the obvious, the obvious next conclusion is to cure it, you change the environment to the opposite state, which is a high oxygen, high alkaline state. How to do that? And what creates an acidic environment? Let's take this one step at a time. The thing that creates an acidic environment is multifaceted. It comes down to your basic nutrition, what you eat. It comes down to electromagnetic chaos, which is your wireless technology or the radiation you might get from, say, the body scanners at an airport or living near a toxic waste dump. And then you also have an emotional state which can affect the energy balance in your body from being alkaline or acidic depending on how stressed you are or how calm and happy you are. All these things have an effect. So the one thing I think that I want to focus on in this particular video, I'm not going to say it's the most important, but it's just one I'm going to start with, is nutrition, because we are of course talking about a nutrition series. So the thing that creates an acidic environment is processed foods. The thing that creates an acidic environment is too much cooked foods. The thing that creates too much acidity is also too much meat. Any of these things are really not good for the body. Okay? Your body is basically a living organism, and it needs living sustenance to maintain itself, its structural, molecular structure. And because everything in existence is made of energy, and the reason why everything looks different is because energy oscillates or vibrates at different rates of speed, it coagulates or dematerializes depending upon its rate. So when you have energy that moves very slow, it becomes more dense, more molecularly solid. Consequently, it actually moves with the emotion of fear. When you have a high rate of vibration of energy, it actually corresponds with the emotion of love and actually dematerializes closer to light or pure consciousness. Our bodies are supposed to be made mostly of light and sound, photon and phonon emissions for cellular upregulation. Photon is light, phonon is sound. And when it vibrates, it basically coagulates into the solid matter when it lowers in vibration enough. So understanding that basic concept and how everything, if they're made of energy, has its own specific frequency, then you'll understand why it's important that we eat the right foods, because food is matter and it also vibrates at different frequencies. The right frequency is high, the wrong frequency is too low. That's very basic, simple stuff. So when you eat a very heavy meal, too much meat, too much overemphasis on cooked starches, things like that, it tends to lower the vibration of the energy field in the body. And so you want to raise it up by eating lighter foods. The lighter the better. So vegetables and fruits, obviously. Organic and raw. Now, when your body is being overburdened by cancer, a lot of the energy that is in the body that normally is used for all the maintenance, which is functioning, your muscles, your eyes, your digestion, your heartbeat, and so forth, gets basically depleted because so much of it goes into surviving. It goes into trying to keep you alive because the cancer starts to replicate and move. If you want to stop the cancer from spreading, you have to create a condition in the body called apoptosis, which is cell suicide. And it doesn't mean you die, it means that the cancer cell dies, because the cancer cell is not a normal functioning cell, it's a mutant. And it grows off of the harmony and energy of your cells being out of harmony with itself. So by eating, or more or less juicing, vegetables, you're giving your body a break, because when you juice specifically, the juicer machine pre-digests the vegetables for you, which concentrates the nutrients in the glass. Therefore, more energy in your body can be directed towards fighting off the cancer, because very little of it is going into the digestive process. Not to mention, the nutrients in the juice are so concentrated, you're getting, I heard from one source, within 1 glass of concentrated homemade vegetable juice, you're getting the equivalent of eating 5 pounds of carrots. That's pretty big. So juicing is a good idea for you, especially the people that are in advanced stages of cancer, like stage 4, and it really doesn't matter what kind of cancer you have. It could be brain cancer, colon cancer, thyroid cancer, whatever cancer. All cancers stem from the same basic cause, which is an overly acidic environment. The body becomes acidic, the body creates inflammation, and from inflammation you are creating any manifestation of chronic illnesses. Think about Alzheimer's. Think about arthritis. Think about diabetes. Think about heart disease. Arteriosclerosis. Any of these things are inflammatory in nature, and inflammation is created from overacidity, acidosis. So the first step I would say is raise the alkalinity in the body. Stop eating boxed food. Stop eating refined sugar. Stop eating refined salt. Stop eating chemical sweeteners. Stop drinking tap water. Stop smoking. Stop drinking alcohol, if you can. I mean, if your happiness revolves around a habit, you know, whatever your habit may be, if you have one like that, you got to question yourself, what's worth my happiness? Me being alive, or me getting a temporary fix at the moment, you know? Now, obviously, not everyone that smokes or drinks is going to get cancer, but what happens is that stuff is highly carcinogenic to the body. Alcohol actually is very acidic. Smoking creates and releases free radicals in the body, which pretty much goes around and oxidizes and speeds up the aging process, is one of the effects. That's why you have things called antioxidants, against oxidants, against oxidation. So your body doesn't basically break down a lot faster or replicate in a mutant fashion into a cancerous cell. So there are many ways to become alkaline, but like I said, in this particular video, to keep it short, the most important thing is stop eating processed food. Stop eating meat if you can, or just limit how much meat you eat to a very bare minimum and try and make it chicken or turkey, you know, things like that. I wouldn't recommend eating seafood at all because, first off, there's a high degree of mercury and toxins in fish. All fish have this. All fish are exposed to mercury, some degree, and there's no acceptable amount of mercury that should be ingested into the body. Second thing is, a lot of people go to grocery stores to get their fish, and a lot of fish come from the Pacific coast, which has been affected by the Fukushima radiation spill that has spilled over from Japan all the way across the Pacific Ocean, hit the California coast. All that fish has been contaminated. You know, think about Alaska. Alaska's on the Pacific coast. So what you normally thought Alaskan salmon was healthy, not a good idea anymore. You are putting yourself at risk of getting radiation contamination by eating any kind of seafood from the Pacific Ocean. And, you know, not a good idea. So try to, if you want to get the benefits of fish or seafood without the contaminants, I would recommend getting Carlson's liquid fish oil. It's a Norwegian fish oil company. It filters out all the contaminants and you still get the omega-3s. I'm going to go into more detail in my next video because, like I said, I want to be able to put these out in segments, but that's the first step. Raise the alkalinity. More fruits and vegetables, cut out junk. That's a simple thing to do. I mean, it may not be simple as far as actually carrying through with it if you're really like grew up eating junk food and bad food and too much meat all the time, but it's really a good idea for yourself if you really care about avoiding cancer. If you've had people in your family, your friend, you know, in your family that have cancer, you've had friends around that have cancer, most likely they probably don't eat very well. So if you want the best chance of defeating it, try and go towards an alkaline diet as much as you can. High fruits, high vegetables, juicing vegetables. I will be back in the next video and explain more and take it to the next segment. Revell out.